A man set a goal, a big one, the kind that makes your stomach drop just thinking about it. He wrote it down on paper, pinned it to his wall, prayed over it every single day. First month, fire. Second month, a little harder. By the third month, he quietly took that paper off the wall and never brought it up again. You know what stopped him? Not the circumstances, not money, not time. The same thing that has been stopping people for thousands of years. And the Bible captures this moment so clearly it'll take your breath away. Today we're breaking down one story from the gospel, and you're going to see in it an exact blueprint for how to reach your goals. Not a motivational speech, not a list of tips. A living principle that's 2,000 years old and still works. Seriously. Matthew 14, night. The disciples are in a boat in the middle of the lake. A storm, waves crashing against the sides, wind roaring, and suddenly they see something on the water. A figure, someone walking toward them across the surface. They scream in terror. They think it's a ghost. And then a voice. "Don't be afraid, it is I, Peter." And this matters doesn't stay quiet. He calls back, "Lord, if it's you, tell me to come to you on the water." And Jesus says one word, "Come," with emphasis. Peter steps out of the boat and he walks on water. A man, a fisherman, not a saint, not a prophet, walking on water. But here's where it gets really interesting. And most people, when they read this story, completely miss the most important detail. Peter didn't start sinking when he stepped out of the boat. He started sinking when he looked in the wrong direction. The text says he saw the wind, not felt it, saw it. He shifted his eyes from Jesus to the storm, and in that exact moment, he went under. Here's the first principle. Your life moves toward whatever your eyes are fixed on, not where you want to go. Not where you planned to go, where you look. That's where you go. This isn't a metaphor. This is a law. Warm, smiling. There's a phenomenon in psychology called target fixation. Motorcycle riders know it well. If you're riding at speed and you stare at the obstacle you're trying to avoid, you will hit it. Not because you wanted to, because your body automatically moves toward wherever your gaze is locked. Peter locked his gaze on the storm, and the storm swallowed him. Now look at your own life, at your goal. How much time each day do you spend focused on it versus focused on everything that could go wrong? How many thoughts about why it won't work versus why it will? Stay with me, because what comes next is something most people never notice in this story, and it changes everything. Peter sank, but he didn't stay underwater. He cried out, "Lord, save me!" And Jesus reached out his hand immediately. Immediately. No long pause, no lecture about doubt. And then he says something to Peter that most people read right past. "You of little faith? Why did you doubt?" Not, "You have no faith." Not, "You failed." Little faith. Small faith. Not zero. That means even a small amount of faith was enough to step out of the boat. Even a small amount of faith was enough to take that first step across the water. The problem wasn't the absence of faith. The problem was that he stopped holding on to it. Here's the second principle. You don't need massive faith to start pursuing your goal. You need enough. Enough to take the first step. And then, don't look away. Now let's talk about you. There's a goal you've been putting off, maybe for a long time. You know it's right. You feel it somewhere deep. But every time you walk to the edge of the boat, you look down at the water and see the storm. You see the risks. You see other people's failures. You see your own past attempts. And you step back in. But here's the thing. Peter is the only human being in history, besides Christ himself, who walked on water. The only one. Not the 10 who stayed in the boat. Not the ones who didn't risk it. The one who stepped out. He even sank, and still went down in history as the man who walked on water. Stay with me, because now we're getting to the most practical part. How you actually apply this to your goal starting today. Open Matthew chapter 14 and read it slowly. Not as a religious text, as an instruction manual. Ask yourself 3 questions. Where is my goal right now? Where is my gaze? On the goal or on the storm? And do I have even a little faith to step out of the boat? Then do one thing, not a year-long plan. One action today that moves you one step closer to your goal. One step on the water. That's it. Because God is not asking you to have all the answers. He's saying one word, come. And if you go, even if you get scared, even if you start to sink, He will reach out His hand immediately. Your goal is not an accident. It didn't appear out of nowhere. That desire that has been living inside you for years, it's not just your imagination. It might be a voice saying, come. The only question is, are you going to stay in the boat or are you going to step out? Write one word in the comments. Stepping out? Just that. Let your own mind hear it. Let you hear it. And if this video helped you see your goal differently, subscribe. This is where we open the Bible not as an ancient book, but as a living guide for real life.